This is an Eye on Annapolis bonus podcast.
If you've ever heard of the rock band called Tenacious D, our guest today should be known as Tenacious P.
Very good. I like it.
Romy Pittman, who is the tenacious brain behind the New Village Academy, which is a brand new charter school that, fingers crossed, will be opening up in August of 2026. And we are here with Kimberly Gomez, who is I wouldn't say she's a student of the charter school because the charter school is not even built yet, but will be one of the first students to walk through the doors in August of 2026. And they just broke ground on this school less than a week ago, and it's exciting. And we wanted to sort of revisit this because we spoke about 2 years ago, Romy, with Darius Stanton.
That's
when
right.
This was an idea.
Right.
And then it stopped, and then it started, then it stopped, and then it started. Yeah. And you just had the opportunity to put dirt shovel dirt out of a bucket in the second floor of the mall, which is just really, really kind of interesting. And it is a different school, and we really wanted to talk about that with you. It is a charter school within Anne Arundel County Public Schools, so there is no additional cost to it. Like some states I know have charter schools where you have to pay tuition and stuff like that.
No, it is absolutely tuition free, just like a regular public school. Mm-hmm.
And it is an alternative to what I'll say is the reading, writing, and arithmetic curriculum that you find at, whether it's Annapolis, Crofton, South River, Southern, whatever high school it is. Mm-hmm. Fair?
Yeah, fair. We certainly do reading, writing, and arithmetic. It's not that we don't do them. We just do them in a different way that we think is much more likely to build on kids' internal motivation to learn, which every kid has. If you watch a toddler, they are driven to learn how to walk and talk, and they want to explore everything they can get their hands on. And that instinct is still in young people, but schools manage to kind of squelch it out of them because we sort of dump learning onto them instead of letting them be the masters of their own learning process.
Well, everybody learns differently.
It's true.
Whether you're an adult still learning, like we all are, or whether you're a kid. And I know that COVID really sort of pulled that out because I remember, everybody was learning virtually during COVID. Yeah. And after that, when everyone went back to school, which was wonderful, but people were going, there were some kids that really thrived on screen learning. And now there's a whole curriculum for that, and which really highlights the need for something that's different than the standard. And I get that the schools need to make this, sort of cohesive curriculum. This is how school is taught in Annapolis. Now, you're at Annapolis High, right, Kimberly?
Yeah, I am.
And you're a sophomore?
Sophomore, yeah.
Okay. Well, is there something that you don't like about Annapolis High? I mean, I'm not looking for you to diss the school, but that would make you learn better, that New Village Academy has you so excited?
Well, it's the amount of students is just too packed. And I honestly like learning on hands, like having a paper physically. Now we have like Chromebooks and we can't learn. Like I work better like having a paper in front of me and actually reading it and like getting through it, asking for help, having a teacher actually there explaining me the work instead of just going on a Chromebook and just sitting there and just having to read it on my own and doing everything.
It's so funny that you and I are very similar in that I get a lot more out of my notes and anything if I'm manually scribbling it down, not that I can read it, but at the end, but I get a lot more writing it down than I would if I try to take it on my phone or an iPad or a Chromebook. And that's just the way our brains work.
Yeah, I prefer writing things instead of just having like on my phone, Chromebook or anything. I prefer just like writing it and then I would remember like what's in my head.
Yeah.
I think the other piece of what you were saying, there's like the writing versus Chromebook thing. And then there's also the human relationships thing, having a teacher there to help you and support you. And that, I think, maybe it's a learning style thing. I think some kids maybe need it more than others, but I think everybody needs it. Every human needs it. And there's all this research about how things don't really land in your brain and settle unless there's some kind of emotion attached to it. it can't just be, dry information, because it's not sticky unless it's connected with a relationship with the person who shared it with you, or a feeling that you had when you were engaging with it. And part of, I think, what has been lost in the kind of culture of expertise and precision and standards that is in traditional high schools is they've lost sight of how human we all are and how much we really need human connection to feel like our learning matters and to make it meaningful.
I see that. My son graduated, my kids all graduated from Anne Arundel County Public Schools, and my son was in the AVID program, which was very similar to that.
You're an AVID too.
Yeah,
right?
I do.
And, Mr. Carroll was his teacher through high school. And it's kind of funny, Kimberly, when you sit there and you realize that you've got your teachers, and you don't, at this point, I will guarantee you that you don't realize what an impact that your teachers have on you. I can still remember my third grade teacher. I can still remember plenty of teachers in high school and college. My son, who is 33 now, he comes down about once a quarter. And now that he's old enough to drink and go out and stuff like that, he does get together with his AVID teacher, and we'll have a dinner and have a drink.
You think you'll do that with Mr. Cover? So the way you found out about the school, right, was through Mr. Cover, who's her AVID teacher. And he was a colleague of mine when I was teaching in Annapolis High School. He's a wonderful man, and who saw something in Kimberly and thought, she could really thrive at New Village Academy. She could really do well there. And that, I think, is exactly where it came from, is, a teacher who knows a student well enough to know how and where they're going to thrive and what they need. And some kids are lucky enough to get that in Annapolis High School, where there's a lot of really good special programs like AVID or ROTC, NJROTC, or even a sports team.
Right, Apex. So
so there are lots of little pockets where students are really seen and known and have a relationship with an adult. But there are a lot of kids who don't get that anywhere and go through the whole day at school and never hear their name spoken out loud, And so the idea behind New Village Academy is to really build into the very structure of what we're doing, these really intimate, strong relationships where somebody knows you well enough. So Kimberly would have a crew advisor, a crew leader who has 14 students in the same age group or in the same grade level. And they would stay together all 4 years, meeting every morning for 45 minutes. And then on Wednesdays, if they're not in an internship, which we want to get students out into internships as quickly as possible, but if they're not in one, they're with their crew leader doing career development, figuring out what they want, going out and doing volunteer service in the community, doing things to really build their cohesiveness as a team. And that group stays together. So we would also, Kimberly's crew leader would go do a home visit with her family, get to know her siblings and her situation, and just know her so well that they know what's going to help her blossom and thrive.
You know what this sounds like to me? It sounds almost like a college fraternity to a degree. You're getting
without
together.
the drinking, I hope.
Yeah, absolutely. But you're getting to know this core group of people. And I'm going to say, are you going to New Village Academy with friends, or is this a new school for you?
This is a new school for me. Like, a lot of my friends have moved.
So, this is exciting because, you're going to get a group of 14, you said, I think, Romy? 14 people. You're going to get an adult that's going to be massaging and guiding and, going back in here and, figuring it all out. But for you, you're going to be there for 2 full years.
Yeah.
But you know what? Those people are going to be friends for life, I bet.
Oh, yeah.
That you're going to be sitting there relying on these kids for your last 2 years in high school to help you out. But beyond that, you're going to be able to have a phone number to call somebody and say, hey, I'm having a problem with such, and I remember so-and-so was good with this. And that's a huge gift that I think New Village Academy has given to the students.
Yeah. Our model for crew is it's kind of a hybrid from 2 organizations one of which I worked with as a school designer was my title. But so that name crew is what that we call it. It comes by way of Outward Bound and the idea that we're all crew, not passengers. We're not along for the ride. We're in it full force together and need to row in the same direction, all of those ideas. But big picture learning, which is really more comprehensively what our school is built around is they call it advisory, but it's the same thing. And one of the cool things this summer, I went to a conference where two of the leaders of the organization now were crew leaders or advisors 25 years ago, I believe, in the 90s, so, maybe, I guess, more than 25 years ago. They are still have a text thread going all the time with their crews, with their advisories. And, 25, 30 years later, they are following each other's children and sharing pictures all the time. They get together for reunions. They went to visit one of them in jail because he had gotten into some trouble. They've gone to help people who have cancer and bring them food at home. So it really has become like a family over, decades.
And that's got to be huge for somebody. I mean, you said, Kimberly, that you didn't like the size of Annapolis High School.
Yeah.
And I get it. What is it? It's about 700?
No.
I was going to say about 700 class.
Yeah, about right.
Something about that that's
6 or 7, yeah.
That's a big school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And people learn differently too. I mean, I know that my daughter, when she graduated from South River, she went to Flagler down in St. Augustine, Florida, which was really, really small. It was the whole entire college was the size of her class.
Yeah.
And that was just way too small for her.
Yeah.
So we moved up to a different, other people thrive in a large environment. Mm-hmm. And I think it's laudable that that you prefer a smaller
class.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, New Village Academy is going into, of all places, the mall.
Yes, it is.
It's on, for those that have been around a while, it was the second floor of what was Lord & Taylor.
Mm-hmm. It's above the Container Store now, so if you don't remember that.
I guess the question for you, Romy, I mean, you've got a lease at the mall,
mm-hmm.
and the mall has sometimes been known for bouncing tenants. Is that a concern? I mean, well,
no, not for us, because we have a 20 years lease that with 3 options to renew. So we have 35 years that we're committed to. So they can't do that to us.
Not too easily.
Partly because we are investing a huge amount of money in building out that space, so that we needed that kind of commitment in order to make sure that we could.
Well, I think that's a great commitment on the mall's part as well as the community's part.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think I remember when we spoke the first time when we were in, I guess, the back of 49 West with Darius.
Yeah.
You were looking for places that where it could possibly, and I know that some of the key things were like transportation and access to the community, to the jobs, to everything else, and then obviously physical space.
Yeah.
Which is there. So I mean, this is really kind of an ideal hub to be able to, and I know transportation is an issue for the school district under the best of times.
Right.
Much less adding something that's a little bit off of the beaten, off of their bus route path, if you will.
And charter schools have to come up with their own transportation, so that's not.
Oh, that's just a regular, normal thing?
It is, yeah. Yeah, so, one of the things that we decided in part of our, our tagline as Annapolis is our classroom, that we wanted students to have access to public transportation, not just to get to and from school at the beginning and the end of the day, but during the day to be able to hop on a bus and go do field work in downtown Annapolis and, check the water, do water sampling in the harbor or at the city dock, or to be able to get to an internship, or to be able to stay for an after school program and not be dependent on having a parent with access to a car who can come and pick me up after school.
Which is difficult. I mean, under the best of circumstances, I mean, these half days that go in and, I've got to take off work and I've got to do this to do is very challenging. And
people worry about safety on public transit, but actually there are fewer incidents, safety incidents on public transit than there are on school buses. So, they're generally very safe and very, we will find out how reliable and everything it is. There are some issues that people complain about sometimes, but we've had those problems with school buses too. So it's really, we're trying a different angle on it. If it doesn't work, we'll figure out something else, but it's extremely expensive to hire buses to do bus routes. Like a $1 to $1.5 million budget line item for us. Oh, wow. And for a small school like ours, it's just not really viable.
How big is the school?
We'll start with 170 students and we'll grow to 270.
Okay. And your website is newvillageacademy.org. Now, you're actively enrolling right now?
We are, yeah.
So are you filled?
We are not filled. So the way it works for charter schools is that there's a lottery period. a window when the lottery is open. So that started. Well, for us, we weren't on the AACPS drop-down menu until the beginning of November, but for other schools, it started at the beginning of October. And most of the schools, I don't really understand why most of the school choice options, like magnet programs and the other charter schools, close that window in the first week of November. So I don't know why they do it so early, but they do, and that means that we're the only one still keeping our window open, and we'll be open until January 15th. And then what happens when the window closes, it doesn't mean you can't come after that. It just means that that's the period through which everybody has an equal shot. And so they run a lottery at that point. We have preferences built in for high priority categories of students. Anybody in Anne Arundel County can apply in the lottery. But if you live in Annapolis, you get a small preference. If you are an English learner, you get a preference. And if you qualify for free and reduced lunch, so if your family is lower income, you get a preference. And so we wanted to make sure that the communities that don't always have access to all these sexy choice options, that they knew that they could come to our school and that they had a little bit of an edge to balance out the advantages that kids who are coming from, families with college degrees have.
So each year that you've got an open, so you 250 students. Okay, so that's divided by 4. That's what?
We're going to have about 70 per grade. Is our
70 to 80 people per class. So every year, 70 to 80 spots open up in the lottery. Is that how that works?
Well, so of course, the 9th grade will be all new kids.
Right.
So in the first year, we're going to have a pretty small 10th and 11th. 11th and 12th grade, kind of pilot projects almost. So you're going to have a really small school, Kimberly.
Look at that, Kimberly's going to be a pilot now. This is great.
Well, it's an incredible leadership opportunity, honestly. Like for the seniors and juniors coming into school this year, there's nothing like the experience of helping to build a community from scratch. And that in itself is going to be a curriculum. It's going to be a once in a lifetime experience. Well,
I will say that Romy has probably mapped all this out on paper and knows how it's supposed to work. We think.
I hope so.
But, when you move in there with your friends, you're the ones that are going to be telling her.
Exactly.
We want this, we want that.
Yeah,
exactly.
You are. You're going to be saying that, well, this works. This doesn't work. This is what we need.
This is what we need different.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to be integral to the shaping of that school for years to come. You and your 15 cohorts in the first 2 classes.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
It's really exciting. And I think the other thing that is underestimated, I've been in the world of starting new schools for a while. I started a school myself 25, 30 years ago, 1998, make me old. And then I was also working for Expeditionary Learning, this project-based learning organization, helping found schools was sort of one of the niches that I had. And what always happens in the first year is a kind of shuffling process. I mean, if you ever raise chickens, which I do because I live on a farm, when you put a whole bunch of new chickens together, there is this kerfluffle, this sort of where they sort out their pecking order. Where they figure out who's got power over whom. And I hope we won't have that process in the school, but we will have a kind of open-ended culture initially, and getting the right students in those upper grades where the younger kids are going to be looking to the older students to say, how do we do this new kind of school? And having the older students who are saying, well, we do it by having each other's back, and we do it by showing up in a positive way, and we do it by learning to shift our thinking from how do I check the box and fill out this worksheet so I can get my points to how do I take charge of my own life and future and my education and go after what I want. It's like there's so many big mindset shifts, and having people like Kimberly as that tone-setting group in the upper grades is going to be really important.
Kimberly, you had mentioned that you were excited there because the SPCA was there. And
the internships.
There weren't that many people. There were a lot of people, but not as many people as are going to hear this. Tell us why you were excited about the SPCA being near your school.
I really want to be a veterinarian. Since I was small, I was like, I want to take care of dogs. I want to take care of animals. That's what I'm looking forward to because I'm a big lover towards dogs. I have a pup. Well, He's grown. I love my dogs. It's like something I really want to do. Like every time I go to the vet with him, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to do this one day. I hope. And another thing was that I have my brother. He's a nurse now. So I'm trying to follow his steps towards. So like if being a vet does not, like a veterinarian does not work out for me, then I'll look forward to the healthcare.
You guys are kind of like a helping, healthy, keeping people and animals healthy kind of family. That's awesome. Well, I mean, and that provides, it sort of ties into, you mentioned, Romy, several times the word internships, which is obviously a key component of this curriculum. What is the requirement on that, I guess, or if there is, or...
Yeah, there are lots of requirements around it. So it's a huge part of our program. It's not an extra nice little thing you might do in the summer or after school. It is one full day a week of your experience at school. So 20% of your work, of your class time is spent in internships. So it's a big investment. And we want to make sure it really is high leverage for students. And the way internships often work, even at the college level, but at the high school level, is that somebody on the school side sets it up. The student goes off to the internship, and then it runs the way it's going to run. And a lot of times an internship mentor, an internship supervisor, doesn't really know that much about teenagers, isn't really sure how to structure this. And the kid ends up spending a lot of awkward time standing around or making copies. And the mentor feels sort of uncomfortable and feels like they've got this kid hanging around they don't know what to do with. So our model is really different from that. So we have a career coach and an internship coordinator who helps to set up the structure of it and kind of lay the groundwork. But then the crew leader, that teacher who has those 14 students, is in there watching closely and helping the student and the internship mentor to make something good happen. And so they come and do site visits. Very early on in the process, they sit down with the internship supervisor and the student and say, okay, so what is a project that you need some help on in this business or in this organization that somebody could carve out as a sort of separate project? And then the student brings, well, I know a lot about social media, or I know a lot about, I love grooming dogs because I've done that my whole life or something. And so maybe they take one little piece of the work at that organization on for themselves as an independent project within the organization that they can work on their own. And so then the crew leader and the internship mentor are following and supervising that independent work at the same time that they get to do the things like be part of a meeting or watch an operation or be part of a workplace event that's happening anyway. So it ends up that the student comes away from the internship with a real tangible product that is helpful to the organization. And then one other thing, if I can keep going.
Sure, absolutely.
So one of the cool things that we have going on at New Village Academy, in addition to the internships where students can do this one full day a week or even 2 days a week in 11th and 12th grade, is that if an organization and a student kind of are really loving their work together, the student is like, I know I want to do this. Say Kimberly finds a vet's office that they just love Kimberly and they want her to continue to work there. She loves being there. She knows this is what she wants to do. Starting in the summer after 11th grade, we can turn this into an apprenticeship instead of an internship. So internships are unpaid deliberately because we want to make sure it's not just an after-school job or a grunt work kind of job. We want to make sure they're learning. But then the apprenticeship model is a really different one where they start being paid in the summer of 11th grade full-time through the summer, 2 days a week through their senior year, and then for a full year after they graduate. So it's a commitment to a kind of long-term commitment where they do a full, not a baby apprenticeship, like a 450-hour apprenticeship like they do in the traditional high schools, but it's a 2,000-hour full registered apprenticeship. And along the way, they also do 144, I think I've got that number right, 144 credit hours of certification and training work at the community college or whatever. And so by the end of that time, they come away with a full apprenticeship that is a registered apprenticeship recognized by the state of Maryland, which is a real credential for a career rather than just a little bit of exposure to a career. So if a student is ready to go deep, and so a kid like Kimberly, just to sort of play this out, what often happens is a kid like Kimberly might go to work, she might intern at the veterinary clinic. They are saying, wow, she's fantastic. We want to invest in this. Let's turn this into a veterinary assistant apprenticeship. And maybe there isn't an apprenticeship that exists already of that, but we have a relationship with the Maryland Apprenticeship Training Program where they will actually work with the business and the industry as a whole to create an apprenticeship model for that field. The students then do it. And so we've now helped the Maryland Apprenticeship Training Program because they want to expand apprenticeship options. We've helped the business to get somebody who's fabulous on their team. And what often happens is the business will then say, you know what? We want to pay for Kimberly to go get more training and to work towards becoming a vet. And they actually pitch in for college in a way that is what happens for wealthy, well-connected families all the time, where they leveraged professional networks to move ahead in their career. She'll have that kind of professional network.
This is
too.
Huge.
It is.
This is a huge leg up. I mean, I just wrote some notes down here. I mean, you're talking about, a full day of internship. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's not, as you said, it's not a couple hours after work. It's this allows you the time to get into the nuts and bolts of it and to really learn what's going on in the organization. Right. As opposed to just, okay, I'm here till 4:15. Okay, fine, I'll put these file folders away or something like that. But also you learn some of the things. I remember Jared Libman when he told me when he was testifying against the minimum wage increase or whatever it was, but he said that, yes, we pay our people, but when they're there, these kids, these 15, 16-year-olds, when they leave us, and they are going to leave us. I mean, nobody expects a 15 or a 16-year-old to stay at a hardware store for 100 years. Yeah. But they said they know how to make change. Mm-hmm. They know how to customer service. They know inventory. They know the importance of different things and stuff. And these are the life skills that you take, whether it may not be in that particular field, but you can take them with you and apply them everywhere else.
Exactly. Yeah. They call those durable skills in the kind of career education world. And, things like when is it okay to pull your phone out at work and when is it not okay? When do I ask questions of my boss and when is that annoying to them? All those are the same in different careers. And so you build that capacity in one workplace. Yeah, it's absolutely transferable.
This is just a fantastic opportunity for that. Are your parents excited about this, Kimberly?
Yeah.
Mom's over here on the side looking on. She's nodding with a big old nod there. So do you understand how big of a leg up this might be?
Yes, it's a really good opportunity. I think it's really amazing. Not a lot of people get to experience it because of a lot of things. Many people don't get to experience it. I think it's a huge thing that we get to do what we actually like. It makes a lot of people, well, in my opinion, it makes a lot of people think what do I want? What do I do not want? Just having internships makes you think oh, I want to be this. Oh, I like this. Oh, I don't like this.
You start building a picture of a future that you want to work towards, and then you have a reason to do the work.
Yeah.
I need to talk to you in about 30 years and see how your trajectory went, because everybody thinks this is my goal. I'm going to be a veterinarian and we're just going to go like this. And this is how it works. But it's usually ooh, okay, we're trying to figure out how to get.
Some people go straightforward and they know what they want. But usually it's pretty circuitous. And as to your point, it doesn't matter, because part of the thing about the internships is you don't have to be interning in something that's going to become your career. You can try something, and one of the most valuable insights is maybe you'll go work in a vet's office and you'll be like, oh, I hate this. We're torturing animals all day long. Sure. And so, finding out what you don't like is just as important as finding out what you do.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I've got to think it's going to be very big for the community, the businesses and everything else to be able to have that resource. You've got 200 and some odd people that are actively looking to do this, that are actively looking to get into it. It's a tangible something that they're going to be assisting with the businesses. Mm-hmm. And when we look at the mall, my initial thought was okay, so we're going to be putting a bunch of 250 people into retail every year. Okay. And everybody can turn around and walk into a store and say, hey, maybe they can't walk into a store and say, I want to fill out an application anymore. It's like, what's the website to fill out an application? Get a job for that. But I mean, there's so much more. I mean, as the mall is dying and growing and expanding and whatever it is. But I mean, you look at, you can look at retail management, you can look at facilities management that's involved in there. You can look at, as we talked about, the SPCA and, all sorts of crazy things are going into the mall. But then the location where you have, if you wanted to get into, automotive sales management, okay, you can get on a bus and get down to West Street to find out, any of the number of car dealers that may be there.
Rumor has it that Tesla is coming to the mall.
That's not a rumor. It's already there.
Is it already there?
Yeah. Okay. It's definitely coming in there.
That'll be an interesting possible partner.
And it's very cool that they're doing it. I mean, Dick's House of Sport is a different type of thing. I mean, Dave and Buster's. Okay, so then you've got the whole hospitality thing, and I mean, hospitality is just huge in Anne Arundel County as well as pretty much the state of Maryland.
Yeah. One of our biggest partners in the mall is the public library that's there. So the Discoveries Library they've been fabulous. We've been doing open houses there now for years. And they want to have interns. We will use them as our school library, essentially. And so that partnership is going to be very critical to our success. And one of the things I love about it is that all the systems that we trained kids in at Annapolis High School, not all of them, but many of them were, apps or programs or research tools that were paid for by the school system. And you had to be part of the school system in order to access them. But by using the public library and learning to use their tools, their free Rosetta Stone and their how do you order an obscure book that you want to do research in or access a magazine online, all of the resources of the public library will be things they can still use after they graduate. And we want to build that capacity as much as possible.
And I don't know how our library stacks up against other libraries, but I will say that our library is kick butt.
It is. It is.
I mean, you can, I've talked to Skip a number of different times, and I mean, his story is great coming from, with the library science and everything else, but, they've got the foundation there, so you've got the nonprofit arm. But I mean, I can go up to Pasadena and check out a violin. Nobody would want me to do that because, but, you can get a fishing rod. You can, you do this. I mean, they've had have you ever heard of the human library that they've done?
No. With the resources around business and stuff like that?
No. This is actually the coolest thing in the world. Everybody has their own story. Okay. I don't know, you have your story, you have your story, I've got mine, your mom has their story. You volunteer to be checked out in the library and you write a little synopsis, say, okay, well, maybe I spent 20 years in jail for marijuana. Maybe I am the CEO of whatever. Maybe I'm the county executive. Maybe, maybe I'm a cop, whatever it may be. And you check out that person and you go sit in a room like this or maybe out on a bench outside and you talk with them for about an hour and you learn their story. And it's just so cool because when you get into something like that, now I'm going to get to pontificating, but you start to realize that how similar we are. Okay. Yeah. You may speak a different language than I am, but you know what? We've got an awful lot in common. And when we start to realize that, things really start to move.
Yeah.
And, the opportunities start to roll out there. That's,
it's sort of the back end, if you will, of the school is that. So our mission is to make sure that students have the will and the skill to, use Annapolis as their classroom and to be known, connected, empowered, and accountable are their kind of 4 words. And they're connected to the science of motivation. So there's a lot of stuff behind that. But our vision statement is actually that the Annapolis community comes together around our young people, but overcomes its divisions and its differences and builds connection across the community in the process of supporting and being engaged with New Village Academy.
It's a great opportunity to be able to do that. And I mean, I think it's, there's a great deal of investment all around.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a lot of it invested in this already, and we've just moved a little bit of dirt, and I don't know whether construction has actually started yet 3 days later, but close. There's also investment from your investors that are putting up the money that are in there. Okay. They're investing in you and your success when you go in there, Kimberly. And
but then Kimberly is going to
investing in them,
in the community, because the community action projects are going to her learning in science, social studies, and literacy will be all in service of helping to solve a community problem, whether it's, gun violence or the flooding in downtown Annapolis or, safe self-driving cars, whatever the issue is, she will be giving back through her learning too.
That's true. I know during the groundbreaking, I was so impressed when Dr. Bedell was up there and he started out, he says, "I'm not a fan of charter schools." I said, "Oh, this is going to be good."
Yeah, I got a little worried for a minute there too.
This is good. This is going to be good. And he followed, he said, "Unless they do something that we can't." And I'll paraphrase that. There was something very similar. And he looked right at you, Romy, and he said, "And that's exactly what you're doing." And when you realize that the schools are designed to do much everything the same, and people get left behind and fall through the cracks and stuff like that, that's not good for the schools. That's not good for the students. That's not good for the parents. That's not good for anybody. But to be able to get that opportunity to be able to do that is absolutely huge. I was also impressed at the variety of people that was at the groundbreaking. Okay. And you mentioned so many times, Romy, that this is a community project.
Yeah.
And boy, I'll tell you, the community was there. I saw politicians. We saw board members from the Anne Arundel County. We obviously saw some school leaders. We saw teachers that were there on their own time. We saw neighborhood leaders. It was just wonderful to see the community coming together for 45 minutes in a cold second floor of Lord & Taylor. As you guys pretended to break ground in a tub of dirt.
Dug into tubs of dirt.
It was wonderful to see, and I think that was really sort of a big foreboding as to the things that are going to be coming.
I think it's the silver lining of it having taken 3 years to get this launched, is that we have had 3 years of building relationships, building connections and partnerships, and in getting people invested in this. And especially last spring when our funding fell apart because of sort of ripple effects of the new administration at the federal level, the number of people who came up to me and said, "You have to do this. Like, you can't stop. We need this in our community." Like, people had bought in and invested, as the word you used was invested. People were invested now in this happening. And so the energy at the groundbreaking, I think, was all of this pent up energy from last year of like, no, we thought this was happening and we really need this. And now it can move forward.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. And, one thing that I know we've done a number of stories on New Village Academy, the stops, the starts, and the false starts, and the podcast and everything else. One misnomer that, I would like to clear up, and also, probably use. Some people are saying, "Oh, do we want an alternative high school in the mall?" I'm like, well, first of all, let's not call it an alternative. It's an alternative type of school because it's not the norm that you see on Reba Road or on Central Avenue or Route 2.
What it's not is not a placement school. I think that's a really important distinction. It is a school where students choose to go. And they might be, rock star IB students who are like, I want to take charge of my own learning. I want to do this my way. Or it might be a kid who has really struggled at Annapolis High School or another place and really needs a different kind of environment. But the bottom line is they are saying, I want this, and I'm choosing to be there. And that's a completely different experience than a place where you get
somebody
dumped.
That says, okay, you are a bad kid or whatever it may be to go there. And that's a huge difference. And I've always tried to say that, no, this is just a different form of learning. I mean, my high school was a very small school. I graduated in a class of 50. So, people learn different things. And certainly when you look at if you're in a high school class, I don't know what the average teacher to student ratio is at Annapolis High. But I can guarantee you it's a lot higher than it's going to be at New Village Academy when it opens up in August of 26.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like the teacher-student ratio isn't that different if you look at staff to students generally. But our staff, we're investing more in the people who are on the ground as crew leaders, as regular teachers, and don't have a lot of the specialists and, people, administrators running programs and things that are sound great as programs, and often they are great, but they only impact a small number of kids and or they're for a very small amount of time.
And so they need to be there.
They do. It's like you can invest your money in, like, I want to make sure that there's lots of strong relationships and that people know students well, or you can say, I want to have a specialist who can serve, this special need and that special need and teach this AP class or deliver this special program. And people have the choice to do one or the other. And it's just a different sort of approach to getting kids' needs met.
Do you need a special teacher at New Village Academy?
Oh, yeah. We need a unicorn.
I've got to think that, this, as it's so different for the students, you've had 2 years. Have you been in Annapolis High all for?
Yeah, for the 2 years.
Okay, so you've got 2 years of Annapolis High indoctrination. And you're going to go through 2 more years of New Village Academy indoctrination. Yeah. So, I've got to think that teachers have to do that as well, because, the teacher may be there for years shift. And this is the way we teach. And it's a whole different ball of wax.
Yeah. It's really different. So, first of all, a lot of high school teachers teach high school because they say, I just want to teach math, or I just want to teach my subject. I'm not that interested in, kids' dramas or whatever, the individual students in front of me.
Children have drama?
And, and you have to be somebody who loves young people to work at New Village Academy, because it's really about that human being. The other thing is that our curriculum, we are not, for the most part, following a predefined curriculum that is delivered to you with PowerPoints and worksheets already done.
Sure.
Because we're building our curriculum around local issues, it's going to be messy. It's going to be intensive, and it provides really great opportunities for students to be reading, city council resolutions and manuals for evaluating and projecting the future of flooding in downtown. And
those are all really boring. Don't read those.
They are boring, and they're really high level reading. And it's exactly what the Common Core standards are trying to get us to do more of, because that's what you do in college or in a workplace. You don't, like, reading short stories and novels is lovely. And we will do some of that too, because kids should love reading. But to leverage the real life things that are going on out in the community, not just for kids' interest, but for, I hate the word rigor, but for rigor, for really high level problem solving and thinking and critical thinking. To do that well, you have to have a teacher who is quite gifted at leveraging those opportunities.
Where are you grabbing your teachers from? Are they going to be from the existing pool within Anne Arundel County, or are we looking outside, or a combination?
It'll be a combination. So we have some experience with this from our past couple of years, where we had a lot of people interested, and we actually did a lot of interviewing. One of the things we're doing is making sure that students are on the interview panel, because they see things that adults just don't see, and it's phenomenal. But in the past, we've had just an incredible outpouring of interest, because people know that the way high school is done now, it's just not working very well. And that so many students are not buying what we're selling, and they know that we need to find a different way to do this. And they're really excited to have the opportunity to help create that.
I love that you've also involved the students within the ownership of the school. With the student panel. You've got a whole panel of students there. You've got a student, I believe, on your board too, don't you?
Yeah. And former student, now at Morgan State. Yeah.
But you've involved the community there to really direct where it goes, which is something that's not offered to the 88,720 whatever it is that are not going to New Village Academy.
Yeah. Well, I think on a system level, Anne Arundel County Schools is trying. They have a student board member. They have various committees and things where they get student input. But often, unfortunately, what happens is it's the sort of selected cream of the crop. kids who are giving that input. And that's a very different experience and a different set of needs than most of the students who, maybe are not so worried about which AP classes are offered, but are worried about I don't see myself getting the things I need for the life I envision for myself after high school here, because I don't want to go to college, or I want to do this other unconventional thing. And so, those the sort of quieter kids, the kids who are flying under the radar, often their voices aren't heard in a large system like that.
Romy, you've been in education all your life, when you're not raising chickens. Is this a capstone project for you?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I used to feel some regret's not the right word, but I guess I used to feel like, I just jumped around. I started in public school, and then I jumped over to doing stuff with alternative education and then outdoor education. And then I started a non-public alternative school. And then I jumped into this project-based learning thing. And I don't even, I'm probably not going to get any retirement because I jumped around so much and didn't stay in the school system. And then when this project began to come together, I realized every one of those experiences and all of those things that I did were experiences that informed this model and this. I don't think I could have done it if I had followed a single pathway. I think it was only because I was all over the place that I have the perspective and the different resources to draw from to pull something like this off.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, newvillageacademy.org is the website. Yep. The lottery is still currently open.
I don't know if I made this point before, but even after the lottery, people are absolutely welcome to apply. So it's not a lost cause if you find out about this after January 15th.
Right. I mean, there is space at this point. And if I could we make an appointment to check in about a year as your first semester is starting to close at New Village Academy? I would love to revisit and find out what you think about it after having, 4 or 5 months under your belt with it. Would you be willing to do that for me?
Yeah, I would. I'm willing.
This has been fantastic. I mean, congratulations to you, Romy, for bringing this to fruition. Congratulations to you for being able to be one of the first students to walk through the door. Now, is Kimberly going to be I'm going to lobby. I think you need to be the first student to walk. I mean, she was the first one to dig in the dirt.
Okay. Yeah. So I like that idea.
On day one, Kimberly needs to be holding the New Village Academy flag and walk through that door for the very first student.
Yeah. I love that idea. Okay, we got a little ritual that's going to happen. That's great.
Again, newvillageacademy.org. Check it out. It's a different school. It's a great opportunity for those that it works for. It involves the community. It involves just everything that's good about Anne Arundel County and Annapolis. Yeah. And, for the 250 kids that are going to be enrolled in this year after year after year, this is just a huge, huge opportunity for them. And I kind of think it's got to be a huge opportunity for the teachers as well that are working with them. So
yeah, it's what I always would have wanted to have as a teacher myself. And so that's, that opportunity to really know kids well and to get creative in marrying exciting, relevant content with real skill building and helping kids launch into the community. Can I do a little pitch for internships? Sure. So one of the things that we're really gearing up to do right now is to build a bank. We have an app actually that is our kind of both is a menu of here are the people in our community who've already offered to host an internship, as well as a way of tracking that students actually show up and, communicating and giving feedback and stuff. So it's a wraparound app, but we are beginning to populate that now with internships that people are willing to offer up in the community. And that does not mean that you are committed to taking some student who has dumped on you. It's an interview process like any job would be. And you still have the right to fire somebody if they don't, if they're not a successful intern. But we really we need members of the community who have businesses and organizations in a really wide array of fields to step up to be willing to bring a student on board who shares their passion and interest in a career and mentor them in that field and be part of their development. And I think it's a really, really exciting opportunity to give back, but also to, get some fresh eyes on your workplace and your process, and engage with our community in an exciting way.
Well, I think it's also the youth eyes is so important because it's so easy for us adults, us old people, to get stuck in this way. This is the way it's always been done. And to have somebody say, well, that's stupid. That's dumb. Why do you do it that way? Because we learn a lot more from you guys than you realize that we do.
Absolutely.
And internships are just really a huge thing. And I mean, one local story is I know Ashley, who is now the number 2 at What's Up Media, What's Up Magazine. She started as an intern when she was at South River High, a couple hours a week, just probably making copies and stuffing envelopes, and stuck with it. And now she's pretty much running the magazines, and there's several of them. So the opportunities are there, and it's not just for the students, it's not just for the people that are taking part of the internship, but it's the businesses that are doing that. And again, if they cultivate it well enough, the sky's really the limit. Yeah,
and I know another need that a lot of organizations talk about is they want to have a more diverse pool of employees. And our school, we expect it to look a lot like the non-magnet programs at Annapolis High School, which is about 85% Black and Latino, our student population. And so given that, it's a real opportunity to cultivate a more diverse population in fields where sometimes those jobs are not accessible.
Fantastic. Again, newvillageacademy.org. And thank you guys so much. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to see what the successes come out of the first couple of years at New Village Academy, and I'm leaning on you to tell me all about them.
I will.
This has been a bonus podcast from Eye on Annapolis. Please visit us at eyeonannapolis.net. Follow us on Facebook at All Annapolis and on Twitter at Eye on Annapolis. And if you haven't subscribed to the Daily News Brief podcast, go for it. And all of your local news will be delivered to your phone, tablet, or smart device by 6 a.m. every Monday through Friday.